Most of you watching, if you're struggling with thin or not hitting it solid, you're gonna have a shortening of the swing arc at some point. So bent arm, bent wrist, club head closer to me, right? No good thin shots. Now I'm gonna hold Eric's head here because I want his arms to reach forward and lengthen the arc. I don't want his head to go with it. From this spot, slowly, you get the club head to the bag with the arms fully extended away. Boom, just to get a feel of that club head super far away from you at about that 45. Yes, awesome. Lengthen the arms away, lengthen the club head away, get the thud of the ground. To eliminate any of the thinning, we have to have that first. So arms and club fully extended just past impact. Little 3/4 swing, intentionally interacting with the turf. Beautiful. I mean, both of those shots, Eric, have no chance of thin shots. If anything, we would even be hitting them a little higher on the face.
Yes, right.
Right? Versus the bottom.
Yep.
Sort of flip the miss.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful job. So like all of those would be totally opposite of hitting anything thin.
Yep.
So with your irons, if we don't hit them solid, what are the tendencies, any tendency towards like fat or thin?
Thin. Yeah, when contact's not solid, they're usually thin.
Okay. You using any stat trackers or keep track of anything when you're playing?
When I play, I use shot scope. I'm
Okay.
using shot scope, and that tracks all the, all the stats, strokes gained, gives you a good overview of your overall game. So,
Yeah, okay. Okay,
yeah.
Cool. So with the shot scope data, with your irons in particular, are you tracking for like scratch, 5 handicap, 10 handicap, and like where are you at relative to?
Well, right now I'm comparing myself to a 5 handicap.
Okay.
But the goal is to, have comparable stats to a scratch.
More towards scratch, okay.
Yeah, and the reason is because I'm playing to anywhere from 4 to 6, so I play about a 4.5.
Yeah, so where are you, with your irons relative to a 5, are you about even with your shots, gaining strokes, losing strokes?
I'm about even with the 5 handicap on my irons.
Okay, cool. Which means then if we go to a scratch,
yeah,
we got
probably 2 or 3 strokes below a scratch. So,
got it. Okay.
Yeah.
So getting the contact a little more solid.
Yes.
Hitting some more greens in regulation,
Yes.
closer to the hole.
Yep.
Gotcha. 2 big contact pieces, and this is the same for you guys watching here. If you're hitting thin shots as a primary miss, if we're talking pieces like through impact, kind of what's the easiest way to start to be able to solve that? Most of you watching, if you're struggling with thin or not hitting it solid, you're gonna have a shortening of the swing arc at some point. Now, what that means is the club head, right? If my arm was totally straight and my wrist was neutral, the club head would be the farthest away from us, right? That's like a radius we set. Now, if I bend my arm, that makes that get shorter, meaning the club head got closer to me or farther from the ground. Also, if I bend and cut my wrist, that also makes the club head farther from the ground. So bent arm, bent wrist, club head closer to me, right? No good thin shots. You can imagine I'd hit the top of the ball there. So piece number 1 we want to be able to do to start with is, can I keep my lead arm straighter? It can be bent some back here, bent some here, but really through the hit. Can I have my lead arm straighter? And then how do I do that? And then how do I get the club head as far away from me as possible? In particular, 2 big checkpoints we'll see on the screen here. The arm and shaft should be in one straight line down your left leg past impact versus it this way. And then I like to practice, Eric, at about 45 past impact like this, where the arms are fully straight, the club head's like stretched out like as far away from me as possible compared to up here. So as far away as possible here on the way through. Now, in order to be able to do that, or like, why does that happen in the first place? Why would I be bending that? Almost always it's the body rotation. We said, hey, there's 2 big body motion things to look at if you're struggling with solid contact with your irons. Do you shift your body forward enough? Eric does that, that's not a big deal for him. And then do you rotate your body forward enough? Shifting the body forward helps hit the ground more forward. Okay, he does that enough. Rotating the body also helps hit the ground more forward. So we saw with some of your warm-ups, they're mainly thin, but you throw a fat in every once in a while, just to keep us honest. Every once in a while,
for sure.
But some mainly thin ones. And so the rotation can help us move the low point forward, get rid of the fat shots. And then the lengthening of the arc will get the club head down to the ball, right, and through the ball. Does that make sense?
Yep, it does.
So from a practice perspective, where I like to start with to feel this, in terms of the arms and club, is with an impact bag. Now, before I pull this in, let me just give you some feels here. Let's take a setup just in front of that ball there. So from this position here, let's make a backswing where you keep your hands on the club. Let's make a backswing just to about kind of hip high. And then when you're coming through impact, by the time you get to where I'm at, I want you to feel like that club head is fully extended away from your body, like literally as stretched as far away as possible.
Okay.
Right, so the arms are extended,
Right.
the wrists are down and unhinged, and then your body feels back, right, is the sensation. And so first things first, this is the feel that I want to get to through impact, where if you imagine the ball would be here, you're trying to have the club head still working down and away from you through the ball into about this point in your swing.
Gotcha.
Before it kind of start going up and up.
Before it goes up.
Yeah.
Okay.
So full length away. And this is the spot past impact, guys, maybe like a foot or two, that you want to see this full extension. It's like 45 past impact. So from a drill and feel perspective, this is where the bag comes in. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yep.
So what I like to do and have you feel first, now with an impact bag, a lot of people will put it even with the ball and hit that. That's okay. I'd prefer it to be in front of the foot. So if you take a little setup there for me, where you feel comfy. Notice I'm gonna move this bag quite a bit forward. It's almost in front of Eric's foot here.
Right.
So when you guys are practicing this, you can do like a pillow, right, or an object at home that you're okay hitting a little bit, but you want it to be more forward. Why? So you've gotta reach for it. So you gotta reach forward for it. Yeah, exactly. So let's go back to about a little hip high. Now I'm gonna hold Eric's head here because I want his arms to reach forward and lengthen the arc. I don't want his head to go with it. Let's go back just to about hip high and then pause. From this spot, slowly, you get the club head to the bag with the arms fully extended away. Boom. So that should feel to you like that's like, all right, that's about as far away from me as I've got. Is that what that feels like?
Yes, it does.
Fully stretched. I feel okay?
Yeah.
A little different?
The obliques are going to feel it
A
tomorrow.
little yoga. Okay, let's reset again. So same thing, little hip high back, slowly to the bag, fully lengthened away. Good. So the goal is to measure the club head to the shoulder and have that as far as humanly possible. Okay, relax for a second. Let me hop in again. We'd like to thank our partners at ShotScope for sponsoring today's video. You know that I always preach what? Feedback, feedback, feedback. You need feedback to improve your swing. Well, guess what? When you go out onto the golf course, you need that same exact feedback. ShotScope are leaders in GPS, shot tracking, and rangefinder technology. You got to look at some data and figure out where you're actually going off to build a solid plan to improve. Another thing that I love about ShotScope is they have options for everyone. Whether you just want GPS distances on the course, a great value but high performing rangefinder, or want to dive into your data, ShotScope has a product for everyone. With the purchase of a performance tracking device, golfers gain free access to the ShotScope mobile app and web dashboard containing over 100 tour level statistics. Whether you want just the distance to the hole or you like all the stats that they have on there, ShotScope literally has something for everyone. So when you're doing this drill in the beginning, if you're used to thinning and coming this way, right? Before we do the body motions, and some people could say, hey, you could do the body rotation first, then the arms. I like to do arms and hands first, and then body second. So to each their own. I would go back about hip high and feel this fully lengthened away. Like I can't possibly get the club head farther away from me than that, and really feel what that feels like.
Right. Okay.
Compared to potentially even like, maybe I'd miss that bag normally. Yep. Now, after I've got a sense of the arms, away, and I'm really trying to punch that arm and have that almost even from here, like fully straightened, lengthened. Now I want to have some awareness of what my body's doing. And there's a couple ways for us to practice this. After we do the arms a little bit, we're going to do a little bit of impact posing and a little bit of posing with rotation. Kind of like, hey, let's get our belt buckle, belly button out towards the target as you're doing that.
Okay. Yep.
So here's what I'd like to do, Eric. Let's do 1 or 2 drills where we're going to go hip high, hit the bag, hip high, hit the bag. Okay. I'm going to then take the bag out and we're going to make 1 or 2 swings without that, really trying to get that as far away from you as possible down in here, and then we'll strike one. Okay. So 2 with the bag, just hip high. And then the point of these practice swings in the beginning is to really get a feel of what the arms and hands are, and really getting them away from you. Beautiful. And even if that's so good. Even if I had it a little bit closer here, I'm kind of pretty exaggerated with him there, just to get a feel of that club head super far away from me at about that 45. Yes, awesome. Now, when I move this out and you guys are practicing at home, it's not bad to be doing this on a mat, so you can like get some thud,
Gotta hear it, yeah.
So when we're hitting off here, I would love for you to be able to do it. Let me demo one more. I'd love to be able to do this. If we're trying to get rid of thins, I'd want to increase the interaction with the ground.
Right, okay.
So I want to make sure that I'm hitting the turf, and then part two is hitting it in the right spot, right? But as I'm doing this same thing here, after I get the feel of fully lengthened, I'd like to do a practice swing where I'm doing the same thing and I fully lengthen, but now I'm going to take that out to about parallel to the ground on the way through. So I've just gone from here, boom, just arms, and then I added some body turn. But I took a nice little interaction with the turf,
right,
and I had it at and then just past the ball.
Okay.
So when we're doing this, when you're practicing, if we're like whiffing the ground, that's not ideal, right?
That won't work either.
We're going to take a little bit of interaction there. So if you guys are doing this at home, even like on a mat, you can really thud the mat a little bit. You want to hear some action between the club and the ground. Yes. So give me a little half one where you give me a little interaction with the ground. Good. Now see, notice yours versus mine.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. I skimmed it.
So let's stay on this. Now when you're doing this at home, be a stickler on that. Like you want to hear the club thudding with the turf. Now I'm going to give him some cute, beautiful job. Let's do one more like that. I would add some cues in here how to do it, but just keep working through until you get the thud. Lengthen the arms away, lengthen the club head away, get the thud of the ground. To eliminate any of the thinning, we have to have that first. Now let's go ahead and hit that ball with that, Eric. Kind of like a, 3/4-ish swing where you're feeling like you're almost like that bag's still there, fully lengthen it away, and some intention on having that club interact with the ground. Fully lengthen the arms away, good ground interaction. Yeah, beautiful. So that's very solid contact, straight, a little lower than normal when you're doing this punch style shot. But I should have some proof when you're hitting these of like, the ball should be popping off the face more than normal. I am hitting the ground every single time. Even if it's not in the right spot first, just hit the ground every single time and fully feel that lengthen away. Now, if I were nice, I'd let you just hit another ball. But since I'm going to be your coach for today,
we got to go right back to it.
We're going to drill it.
That's right.
So 2 more with the bag,
okay,
2 without, 2 with the ball. Also, this style of practice like we're doing, where we don't just pop in and hit a ball. Yes, good job. Fully lengthen that away. Where you're just not going to pop in and hit again, we're going to do like 2 rehearsals with the training station. Awesome. Really stretch that out. And then we're going to do 2 without it, try and mimic the same sort of feels, and then 1 hit, right? And then always getting feedback on how did I do. Now, if you're trying to get rid of thins and you're trying to hit it solid, like that was not enough divot. That was pretty good, but more ground interaction. At some point, if he kept doing that, I'm not going to just keep saying that. I'll tell him how to do it. But if you're solving this for yourself, just keep giving yourself the intention of the ground interaction. Yes. Let's do that with a ball. So arms and club fully extended just past impact. Little 3/4 swing, intentionally interacting with the turf. Beautiful. I mean, both of those shots, Eric, have no chance of thin shots. If anything, we would even be hitting them a little higher on the face.
Yes, right.
Versus the bottom.
Yep.
Sort of flip the miss,
yeah,
which is the goal. Here's the deal here, right? When I come through, obviously I'm trying to keep my left arm straight to have that as far away from me as possible. But what I'm really feeling too here, Eric, when I'm doing this, is I'm really making sure my trail arm punches all the way. So like one of the big keys with hitting the ball solid that I heard, Jeff Ritter said this to me and I was like, oh, that's so well said, is good ball strikers have the ability to fully extend the right arm while keeping the right wrist bent back. I was like, that's true. Okay. Higher handicap players would be like, straighten the arm, release the wrist, right?
Release, yep.
And so while we're trying to get this fully away, so I don't necessarily want you so in that right wrist part, but I do want to make sure, and one of the feels we can have here, and you can have this as well, is that your trail arm when you're doing this is punching fully straight. If my trail arm or right arm is fully straight at this point past impact, what does my lead arm or left arm have to be?
Straight.
Has to be straight, has no choice. So if you're watching and you're like, yeah, I keep the arm straight, dude, but like I can't feel that, you could feel your trail arm going from bent to extended. So when I do that, like with the bag, I'm almost feeling more of my right arm here, my right arm here punching compared to the left. So just a little different feel to do the same thing. Let's do one more round of that, and then we'll add in the hip turn. So if you struggle with the lead arm extended feel, we can feel the same thing with the trail arm. fully extended past impact. Beautiful. And if you don't have an impact bag, you can use like a couple pillows at home, kind of right in front of your, the couch or something. Go soft to start with, right? But you can replicate it with the same. Beautiful. And let's do 2 practice swings with some ground interaction. And anytime you're doing your practice, if you don't get the result you want in your practice swing, there's no sense in hitting the ball. It's like if we're trying to do fully extended, hit the ground, like that's a beautiful rep. I'd say, perfect, keep going. But if you do and you miss the ground, right, don't put the ball in yet. Stay in the practice swings till you get those. Fully extended away. Awesome. Let's do with the ball. So these are like really well executed, so I'm not tweaking things at all. It might take you a couple more reps to get used to it, but the same sensations of the fully lengthened past impact. Oh, beautiful job. So like all of those would be totally opposite of hitting anything thin.
Yep.
Now, the next thing would be like, okay, that's really, so hey, good job. That was nice. The next thing would be, okay, I can do that kind of at level 1. What do I do when I'm trying to make a full swing?
Yeah.
Right, how do we take this full swing?
Right.
And so I'm trying to, when you make a full swing, do the same thing, but work through that position. So when you guys are practicing to here, if it's just arms, to here, as I turn my body, that brings me to about parallel to the ground. Now, eventually from here, I'm not going to go keep my arms straight forever, right?
Yep.
I'm going to go through this spot, and then I'm going to let my arms fold and my wrists rehinge behind my head. So I wouldn't rush to that. Okay, I wouldn't rush to that. What does that mean, don't rush to that? That means like for all of 2025, if you struggle with thin shots and you're watching this, you could practice every session from here to here for like the first part of your session. They can't get too good at that. But inevitably, we want to make full swings. So I want to feel like I go boom to there, feel it, boom to there, feel it. And then, okay, how do I get through that? So I feel like I'm there and then through that into a full finish, right? And feel the same things. So let's do 2 with the bag. 2 with the bag with the same thing, lengthening out. Fully lengthened in front. Beautiful job. Feeling like that's as far away from you as you can get. Excellent. One more with that. Beautiful. And then let's do 1 practice swing here where you do a full swing with intention of hitting the ground.
Okay.
So same
full
thing.
Back swing and everything?
You full back swing and everything. Full swing, like you're trying to get that fully extended away, but into a full finish. Beautiful job. Yeah, see how you got to take a second to get used to that.
I did. I was like, wait a minute, finish it.
Yeah, let's do another practice run. And that's normal. Like if you haven't done this before, you're going to kind of be like, here, what do I do from there, right? As you do it a little bit, keep the body turning, let the arms refold into the finish. Yeah, nice. So let's try one with the ball. The intentions are going to be the same here. Arms fully extended, out past impact, full swing, full finish. And it'll take 1 or 2 to get it, but the feel when you do full swing is the same thing. Extend those arms, punch that right arm out in front of you. Make sure we have ground interaction. Perfect. So like the thing that we can't have when we're hitting thin is no ground interaction, arms over folding, push the arms away. That's like part 1, pretty much universally good. Yeah. Now we had a little rotation thing. Right, in with that. So let me just hop in there again. When we're talking rotation from a root cause perspective, when you make a golf swing and the club, let's say Eric's club's moving at 80 miles an hour. When the club's moving at 80 miles an hour, if this stops turning, this has nowhere to go.
Right.
And so like when you come through, this is going to fold. As a quick example here, take your arms at setup, keep your body facing the golf ball, so don't rotate, and try and keep your arms as straight as you can past impact. So I can go about right there,
as far as you can
and then I literally physically can't go to where things would have to overfold. Now, if I get to that same point, I just keep turning my body, I can keep my arms straight and extended for essentially ever, right? So what that means is when the body doesn't turn, that's a big reason why that starts to go.
Right.
So as we're doing the arms, boom, boom. I do want to have a general feel of the belt buckle, belly button, even shirt buttons a little bit, pointed out towards the target, right? Now I like to do rotation from impact poses. I like to start kind of with, hey, what are we supposed to feel?
Okay.
And then build into that.
Okay.
But because we're doing the arms past impact to that point, I think we can just combo those into one drill.
Okay.
What that would look like if we bring the bag back in is if we go back and do our little backswing just about hip high this time. So now as we're going to come in to hit the bag, as you're getting the arms fully extended, you want to have an awareness of the belt buckle and the belly button pointed towards me as you get down. Let's go slow on the first one. So as the arms go, the belt buckle goes. Bingo.
Okay.
Now, just like this arms kind of a way, we're looking for full exaggeration in the practice swings, which is going to be like, okay, whoa, that feels quite a bit open.
Right.
Compared to normal.
It does, yeah.
If we were doing normal, like impact poses, I would say, let's take your setup. Now, if you were just going to pose an impact, exactly, you'd pose something like that. And then I'd go back to your setup, pose impact again, boom, right? Back to your setup, and then we'd hit from there.
Okay.
That'd be an impact pose.
Gotcha.
Like, hey, what does it feel like to rotate the hips?
Okay.
And then hit a little shot doing that.
Okay.
I think with this, we could just combo those together.
We can, yeah.
Where we can go back to hip high. And even if you want to do one or two of those, Eric, just to feel it, like, all right, let me feel what that impact would feel like. Okay, good. Reset setup. Feel an impact pose. Good. Now let's go back to about hip high and then slowly bring the arms to the bag and feel that same rotation. Perfect. So it'd be a combo of those two things.
Right. Yep.
And in reality, as you're doing them, especially with a shorter swing, there's not a lot of time in there. We're just right?
Yeah.
You
can't think about it.
No, I mean, what you're going to do is it's going to feel like it's going at the same time.
Yeah.
So we're not going to be like, all right, let's do this first. Let's do this first. We're just kind of, hey, let's get the arms extended. Let's get the belt buckle turning towards the target. Yeah.
Okay.
So let's do 2 rounds of that just so we have it.
Okay.
Let's do 2 impact poses just from here to impact with the hip rotation. Awesome. Reset. Awesome. Reset. And then we're going to do a little hip high backswing, feeling the arms pushing away and the hips turning. Beautiful job. That's 1. We'll do that one more time. Awesome. So from a feel perspective, let's say at impact, just to keep things simple, let's say at impact, you know, a really good golfer with rotation has like 40 degrees of hip turn. Let's say an average person comes in the season has 0.
Yeah.
So like they're not going to go from 0 to 40 in a, right away. Yeah. But every degree we get closer, the better we're going to be able to hit, all things equal. And so when you're watching, if you're at 0 and you're trying to get like 2 cheeks 40, that's what it should feel like.
Yeah.
And then when you hit, you might get like 20.
You get some of that.
Yeah. Now 20 is not 40, but it's better than 0.
Yes, right.
And so we'll take whatever we can get with that. And there's different ways to feel rotation, and we can go over how to do that. In the beginning, just an overall sensation of opening is okay.
Okay.
Yep. Yes. And then give me a good interaction with the ground with the same thing first. Awesome. With the ball. Arms fully extended away. Beautiful job. So like immediately, that's a good lesson learned there. As soon as we shifted focus back to the core first thing, boom, right back to the solidness of contact. Yeah. So that's something as a coach that I have to be able to find, right, of how many things can you focus on at one time. But like if you have some in the beginning, like just the arms and you're hitting thin shots, do just the arms and slowly start to add piece number 2
into it. Yeah.
But that was very good. That was very solid. Does that all make sense?
That was probably the best one I hit.
Yeah, that was good. That was good.